All right. Good morning. All right. Let's go ahead and get going. So we're going to start. Um, let's go into seat this morning. So make your way down there. If you don't want anything to elevate your hips, go ahead and grab it. Even a blanket helps as well, and gives you something to cushion your knees on any of those kneeling postures if you feel like you have um, if you have pain in those in the kneecaps. Yeah, so go ahead and grab that really quick. We're gonna get started. So closing down those eyes, finding that comfortable seated position. Just rolling those shoulders down and back, sitting up nice and tall. And just breathing in and out through the nose. And just focusing on that breath. So nothing special with that breath, just in and out through the nose. Yeah, let's start to make that breath a little bit bigger. So just focusing that breath to that lowest part of the lungs. A lot of times we really only breathe up into the high into the chest, especially when we get stressed. So a good way to kind of combat that is to combat the stress is to breathe in through that lowest part of the lungs. Big breath in and exhale it out. And especially as we start that weekend, let's try and de-stress early this Saturday morning. Get big breath in. Nice, slow and controlled exhale. Just releasing any stress, any tension you might be holding on to. Couple more times. Big breath in. And out. Good, on your own. And we can blink open those eyes. Let's reach those arms up overhead. Exhale, we're going to twist it over to that right side. So left hand just goes across that right knee. Sit up nice and tall on that inhale. Exhale, look over the shoulder first, and then try and find a little bit more twist. Now we're going to keep that left hand on that knee, reaching that right arm up and over that big side bend. Inhale, we'll bring it both arms up, twisting it over to that left side again. Sit tall on that inhale. Look over that shoulder as we twist. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know if you can hear that. I had an alarm set that I forgot to turn off. Oh, we were just talking about de-stressing. Nothing like an alarm to throw that off. Sorry about that. Yeah, now again, we'll reach that left arm up and over. Good, inhale, reach it back up. Let's do that one more time, each side. Twisting over to the right side. Now reaching that right arm up. Square up those shoulders so we find that side bend. Bring it back up, twisting it over to that left side. And left arm reaches up and over. Good, bring it back up. Let's go onto those hands and knees, finding that tabletop position. So on that inhale, let's drop that belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. Exhale, we're gonna round that spine, press those shoulder blades away from each other, draw that belly up and in. Good, inhale, drop that belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, look up. Exhale, round on this last round through. Maybe add some sways from side to side as we drop the belly, lift the chest, and kind of bring those hips and shoulders to one side, then the other. Continue that motion as we go into that cat spine. And then bring it to neutral, stepping those feet back to our plank, nice and strong through that core. Like squeezing those legs together, okay? And then we're gonna kind of add to this. Press the palms down and then pull back to the toes. Toes will press down and pull forward to those hands. So I think we're squeezing everything kind of towards the midline of the mat. So really, really fires up that core. Let's go. 3, 2, and 1. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Slight bend in those knees. You can pedal out those feet, maybe add a little sway through those hips. One more breath. And then inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, look forward, stepping those feet top of the mat. Half lift on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Let it hang here for another breath or two. Maybe finding that release in those hamstrings. Then bend into those knees, flatten out that back. Let's rise up to standing, reach it up nice and tall. Pressing those hips forward, arms will reach back. And then exhale, go right back down into that forward fold. Inhaling that half lift. Exhale, plant those hands, stepping those feet back to our plank. Shift the weight forward, shoulders over those fingertips, maybe lower onto those knees, lower all the way down onto the stomach with the toes, pulling the shoulders down and back, lifting through that chest. So maybe here in Cobra, or you can press it up to that upward facing dog. Exhale, sending those hips up and back, down dog. Good, now inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, step those feet, top of the mat. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we'll rise. Reach up tall, press the hips forward, arms reach back. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, the half lift. Exhale, plant those hands, step those feet back to our plank. Lower down. Inhale, lift. Exhaling, hips to the sky, downward facing dog. One more time. Good, inhale on the toes. Bend the knees, step or hop the feet. Inhale the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Reach it up and back. Press the hips forward, just not arching through the low back. Exhale, fold. Flat back on that inhale. Exhale, plant those hands. Step it back to our plank. Lower down. Inhale, lift. Exhaling those hips up and back, down dog. One more breath. And then inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, stepping those feet up top of the mat. Let's bring those big toes together to touch. Inhale, rise to standing, reach it up nice and tall. Exhale, sink those hips down into that chair. Let's sit the hips down nice and low. Keep that core tight. Now, we're gonna airplane those arms. So bring those arms back, lifting those heels up as we hover that chest right over those thighs. That hold here, lift the heels up high. And lower those heels back down, reaching those arms up, lifting that chest up into that chair. Then exhale again, we'll hover the chest, lift those heels. Heels down, arms will reach up. Last time, hover that chest, reach those arms back. Now from here, keep those heels up. We're gonna rise all the way up to standing, finding that balance with those heels up, just on the toes. Finding that still spot. Hopefully your balance is a little bit better than mine today. Stay really tight. Pull those ankles towards each other. We don't want them bowing out to the sides at all. And then lower those heels down. Find that forward fold. Flat back on that inhale, keeping that nice flat back. We'll take that big step back with that left leg. Pressing those hips forward and down into that lunge. Another breath. Twisting, right arm's gonna reach up. Lower that hand down. Step it on back to our plank. Lower. Inhale, lift that chest. And exhaling those hips up and back, downward facing dog. And this time we're gonna lift that left leg up. Curl that knee to the nose, stepping that foot through. Back knee's gonna lower down. Inhale, reaching those arms up, so pulling that rib cage down, pressing those hips forward. Soften those shoulders down. Lower the hands down, straighten that front leg, finding that half split. Then we'll rebend into that knee. We'll step both feet up to the top of the mat. Again, bring those toes together to touch. Inhale, we'll rise to standing. Sink the hips down to that chair. Hover that chest, lifting those heels up, reaching the arms back, airplane wings. Heels lower down, arms reach up. Good, exhale, hover, lift those heels. Good, inhale it back up. Last one, hover that chest, lift through those heels, and then we'll rise all the way up into standing, staying up on those toes. Reach it up, squeeze those legs together, find that balance. And then heels will lower down as we find that forward fold. Flat back on that inhale, big step back with that right foot this time. So we're gonna be in the low lunge, back knee is lifting, plant the right hand twisting, left arm reaches up. And lower that hand down, stepping it back to our plank, vinyasa. Exhaling those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Now we're gonna inhale that right leg up. Curl that right knee to the nose, stepping that foot through. Back knee lowers down. Inhale, reach those arms up. Core tight, pressing those hips forward. Good, rib cage draws down. And then we'll straighten that front leg, pull the toes back as we fold. Now let's rebend into that front knee. Step both feet up to the top of the mat. Find that flat back on that inhale. And exhale, fold. Just let that head hang nice and heavy. And then inhale. We're going to go through that one more time. Toes together to touch. Rise on up. Sink those hips down to the chair. Okay, but we're just going to go into one of these little chairs. I believe this pose is called drinking bird, but it's, don't quote me on that one. So hover that chest, reach the arms back, lifting through those heels. Good. Sink the hips a little bit lower. And then we'll rise on up. So again, finding that balance pose, legs together, reaching through those fingertips. And then lower those heels down as we find that forward fold. Find that flat back, big step back with that left leg. Again, that back knee is going to stay lifted as we twist. Right arm reaches up. Lower the hand down. Step it back to our plank. Down. Inhale, lift that chest. Exhale, hips up, downward facing dog. And bring the feet a little closer together. We'll inhale that left leg up. Curl that knee to the nose, stepping that foot through. Back knee down. Inhale those arms up. So big stretch through that right hip flexor. And then we'll straighten that front leg, pull the toes back as we fold. Rebend that knee, step both feet forward, toes together. Inhale, rise to standing. Exhale, sink those hips down to that chair. Hover the chest, reach the arms back, lifting through the heels. And then inhale, we'll rise up nice and tall, find that balance. Lower the heels down as we fold. Flat back on that inhale. Big step back with that right foot into that lunge. Plant that right hand, twisting, left arm reaches up. Lower the hands down, step it back to plank. Lower, lift the chest. Exhale, down dog. Feet together. Inhaling, right leg lifts. We'll send that right knee to that right wrist. Back knee lowers down. Inhaling those arms up, rib cage down. You can press those hips forward. One more breath. And then we'll straighten that front leg. Lower those fingertips down. Flatten out that back as we fold over that right leg. And then we'll rebend into that knee. Excuse me, step both feet forward, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, let's rise to standing. Just reach it up nice and tall. One time, draw those elbows down, feel going out those arms. Still stretch through that front of the chest. Inhale, bring it back up. And exhale, let's draw those elbows down. Here we go, interlacing those fingers, open up through the chest. And if this is way too much for you, again, you can keep the hands down or right by the hips, just squeeze the shoulder blades together, or maybe we even stay here in this field goal position. Just open the chest that way. Another breath. And release those arms up. Exhale, fold. Yeah, now let's plant those hands. Let's move through one last vinyasa. So lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And now let's bring it onto your backs. We're going to bring that right knee into the chest. Left leg just extends out long. Okay, so we're going to reach for a couple options. Either your knee, your ankle, or your big toe. Okay, one of those spots. Okay, if the leg is straight, obviously press that heel up. But if we're staying in this position, don't worry about it. Okay, now we're going to bring that knee over to, or bring that leg over to that right side, keeping that left hip down. So we'll feel that stretch through that inner thigh, the right inner thigh. Few more breaths. Now bend into that left knee, cross that right ankle over, hug that knee in. So grabbing onto that hamstring or maybe that shin, keep those hips down and hug that knee in as far as you can, keeping that spine nice and flat on the mat. And then release it down. And let's switch sides. So extend that left leg out, grabbing onto right knee, ankle, or toe, pressing that foot up if that leg is straight. And then we'll bring that leg over to that left side. Right leg is straight, right hip presses down. Another couple breaths. Now start to bend into that right knee as we cross that left ankle over. Hug that knee in, hamstring or shin. Tailbone down, chest lifts. Let's lower that foot down and cross it. Finishing off with a twist. So just extend that left leg, right knee is in, and then twist it across. So left arm, right arm is reaching out. Right shoulder stays glued down to the mat as we find that twist. Bring it back to center. Switching sides, hug that left knee in. Right leg extends out. And then twist it across. This time that left shoulder blade is flat on the mat. And then bring it back to center. Hug those knees in. Let's rock it forward. Coming into that seat. Just close down those eyes. Few breaths just to close out this practice. This big breath in through the nose. Nice and slow out through the nose. A couple more times. All right, and blinking those eyes open. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Have a great weekend, and I will see you guys back here on Monday.